Hi, I'm Greg. Welcome to Affect Studio. I'm here to talk about my rebuilt Princeton Reverb and demonstrate the captures, tone models and profiles I've made of the amp for the quad Cortex, ToneX and Kemper. Available now from affectstudio.com.au. All the sounds you hear are from these captures, tone models or profiles. Apart from some delay or reverb from the units, no other processing is involved in what you're hearing. I'm going to call them all captures as a generic term again to save time. Special thanks to the people who have left reviews on our new website or contacted me to say how much they're liking these captures. A huge amount of work goes into getting each pack sounding as close as possible to the original amp, so it's great to know that people are noticing that and hearing a difference. As always, I've made a full capture with the mic'd cab and then a direct amp-only capture with the same settings on the amp that can be used with an impulse response or external cab, so you have both options available. Everything you'll hear today is the full mic'd amp without flashy playing, as that's what you need to evaluate to know these are worth purchasing. The direct amp capture, while valuable in having its uses, requires much less skill to make. Personally, I'm yet to hear a direct amp with impulse response that sounds as good as a well-mic'd amp capture, certainly not for what I like, which is the sound of a great amp. A direct capture with a good impulse response will sound better than a badly mic'd amp, of course. Obviously, most people don't have a fully soundproof studio where you can have amps running at 120 dB for extended periods, so not having a go at anyone, just expressing my preference. I almost said I was here to introduce you to my Princeton at the start, but it's been in a few videos already. A number of people have expressed their surprise at how good it sounds. The Princeton is one of my favourite amps for recording and small gigs. If I had to sell all my amps, it would be one of the last to go. The list of Princeton Reverb owners and users is huge. I even found a picture of Jimi Hendrix using one rehearsing for his performance at Woodstock. These were and are popular in studios where tone is the most important consideration. Smaller amps often sound bigger than larger amps when mic'd. Micing an amp is a great leveler really. No matter how big or small they all come down to the same level after the mic gain is adjusted, so you're only comparing tone. The same qualities that make them great for recording means they work well with the Kemper, ToneX and quad Cortex, where they're reproducing the sound of a mic'd amp. This amp started life as one of the 68 Custom series, really nice amps and a step up from the earlier reissues I'd heard. I put together my own deluxe Reverb, which continues to be one of the most recorded amps in the studio. The raw parts for that deluxe cost about as much as I paid for this Princeton new, and that was around 12 years earlier. So I hadn't expected too much from these. I tried the Princeton as I was checking out a guitar and was so impressed I bought it. Very glad I did. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend these 68 Custom Series amps as they come from the factory. Being me though, I was curious to find out how much better it would sound with some higher end capacitors. Most of the stock parts were great, including the transformers, which are a huge part of the sound of a valve amp. The only place they cut any corners was with the capacitors, which are the same ones they use in most of their current amps. They're not bad, but not as good as the originals or the ones they use in the amps that I build. So I removed the circuit boards, made a turret board and rebuilt it with Sozo and Sprague capacitors. I would say it sounds 5 to 10% better now, equal or better sounding than most of the vintage ones at this point. So I guess this is now a custom 68 Custom. The Princeton Reverb uses a cathodion phase inverter, which was used in a number of my favourite smaller Fenders, like the brown-faced Princeton, Deluxe Reverb and Tweed Vibrolux. The phase inverter is the last gain stage before the power tubes. The inverting part is needed for the push-pull output stage, a bit like pistons in a car. The signal swings between the two output valves, which in turn pushes the speaker forwards and backwards. The cathodion phase inverter was used to cut costs, as it only needs half a 1287 to run. The long-tail phase inverter used in the larger Fender amps uses both halves of the tube, making each side of the wave balanced and also driving the output harder. The less efficient inverter in the Princeton results in the amp never being completely clean, which is a quality I really like. You don't notice it as dirt, it just adds a little character to the tone. I almost bought a mid-60s non-reverb Princeton at one point. I loved it clean, but found it was barely overdriven when cranked. I found out later that the reverb models have an extra gain stage, which means they can be driven harder. So that's it. A great sounding amp, not the playing the amp, remember it's about the tone, and not too heavy to lug. Even lighter if you use our profiles, capsules or tone models. Available at affectstudio.com.au. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out the new website, which is still a work in progress, but we're getting there, and I'll see you soon.